At the academy, Icarus offers to be Joshua's subordinate and serve him, and Joshua is confused. On the scene, a man enters the room and is introduced as Prince Lucifer. He greets the emperor. He then expresses how the knights end. Joshua is well informed of the rules of the battle, as he expounds that the challengers of the battle earn the position of imperial knight upon victory. He tells the emperor he'll be turning 15 this year, which amazes the emperor as he says that nobody has reached the B rank level in their teens in the Avalon Empire. Babel is reminded of Joshua, and as he mentions him, the emperor tells Babel that Joshua can never be Avalon's treasure. The emperor then gives Babel an elixir, which he must drink to increase his mana. As he drinks it, he falls to the ground, and the emperor goes to tell Babel that he must not lose his seat of succession to Joshua. 5 years later, Joshua has been appointed as the 12th Battalion commander, and he walks with pride, summoning the knights. When Joshua returned, the ignorant continent seemed to be at peace. However, there were still conspiracies that started to bloom. The three empires on the continent were considered superpowers. Marcus van Britten, the emperor of the Avalon Empire, joined forces with Draxia Bell, who was the knight of the Swallow Kingdom, and made bad blood with the subordinate county of Swallow, the Thran Principality. Emperor Verona of the Swallow Empire found out about their plan and still managed to prevent war. The third superpower, the Holy Kingdom of Hubal, was electing its pope. 5 years later, Joshua shows up at the first prince's birthday. Young ladies Cheryl and Cox have also arrived and are not allowed by the children of the Marquis family, Natasha and Juog. They are humiliated by them and are told that their family is on the verge of destruction, but they are indifferent to it. Joshua enters and escorts both Cheryl and Cox inside. Cheryl recognizes Joshua and asks him to dance with her at the ball, but Joshua declines, saying he has to guard the castle. Joshua reminds her that he is Joshua Sanders, from the Barron family and the Agnes family. While Joshua stands alone guarding the laces, he feels a presence and asks it to reveal itself. As she shows up, Joshua is aware of her identity. She is Aisha Sethrafi and has come to assassinate the first prince. She is shocked that Joshua knows her identity as she attacks him. Joshua lies, saying he's the Black Dragon, and she gets intimidated and apologizes for her mistake. He then asks her to leave the place. She is the Assassin Queen, who was also a part of Joshua's life in the past. The ball has begun, and everyone is curious about who the prince will dance with. They talk about the Pontier family as they see Cheryl. Cheryl feels disappointed and sad as she realizes everyone is giving her a degrading look. The privies, Caesar van Britten and Cicerin van Britten, made their way inside. Caesar greets everyone, and Cicerin is thinking about Joshua. Caesar sees Cheryl and approaches to greet her. He asks about her family and says he's been worried about their family. Caesar then offers to dance with her, but she ponders over the fact that she can't afford to make more enemies in the palace since all the wealthy noble children have their eyes on Caesar. She refuses him, and as Caesar asks for the reason, Joshua enters, saying he is Cheryl's partner for tonight. Joshua greets Caesar, and everyone's impressed by Joshua and the way he has maintained peace in the empire for 5 years. Joshua apologizes to Caesar for having Cheryl dance with him. Juog enters, asking Joshua to not be discourteous towards the prince, but is shunned by Joshua. Prince Caesar says he is righteous and doesn't want to make a fuss at the ball. He asks everyone to enjoy. Joshua dances with Cheryl, and he says that he helped her because of a promise they made earlier when she handed him the symbol of her family. Outside the imperial palace, Cain, who preferred to be Joshua's subordinate, has arrived and seems angry. He says he's been suffering for the past few years at the hands of Joshua. While Joshua is enjoying a banquet in the imperial palace, Joshua and Cheryl are raised for their looks and are considered beautiful people. As they finish, Cheryl leaves, and Joshua encounters Cicerin. She calls his name out, but Joshua disappears. The next day, all the knights are in a hurry as their boss, Icarus, of the Harvest family, appears. They congratulate him on his early graduation. As he enters the academy, his brother is concerned about where he'd go after this, and Icarus says he made that decision 5 years ago while at the imperial palace. Cain makes his way inside but is stopped by the knights. Joshua sees him and asks the knights to let him in. Cain screams at Joshua, telling him how he has wasted his youth practicing swordsmanship. In trying to reach that stage, Joshua apologizes and is informed that he has another guest outside the palace. Joshua goes and finds Icarus waiting for him. He's surprised at Icarus's profuse change in a span of 5 years. Icarus reminds him of the promise they made years ago about appointing him as his strategist. Joshua remembers and approves. Cain also joins them, and they plan on working together in the future. Joshua's plan begins with asking the two of them to first go see the Pontier family. At the imperial palace, the emperor is concerned that there is no one strong enough to represent the Avalon Empire in the master battle and prove they are the absolute power among all empires. Meanwhile, Joshua enters and expresses that he would like to take part in the master battle to be held in Reinhardt. The emperor tells Joshua he can't qualify for the battle as it requires someone with high strength. The emperor asks him to prove himself first. Joshua says he has a condition in case he wins the battle. Everyone is shocked at his gutsy behavior in keeping conditions in front of the Emperor. The Emperor lets him express his condition as long as it does not involve leaving Imperial Knights. Joshua expresses that his condition is to leave the Imperial Knight. Joshua reminds them of the rule that he could leave anytime he wanted since he enrolled through the Battle of Bircher. The Emperor uses his energies to test Joshua and realizes that Joshua has reached the realm of mastery. He lets Joshua go and return with satisfactory results, and if he does succeed, his request will be accepted. Icarus goes to meet Cheryl at the Pontier Empire. Icarus introduces himself and says he's honored to meet her. She sees the symbol of the Agnes family and thinks that Duke Agnes has sent them to help the Pontier family. Icarus and Cain tell her that it is not Duke Agnes but Joshua Sanders who has sent them to assist the family. Joshua stands, wondering how he'll be able to leave the Imperial Knight without anyone. Being suspicious, he encounters Duke Agnes, and the Duke asks Joshua if he resents him for giving power to Babel when he is the one who deserved it in terms of strength. Joshua says he is indifferent to that matter, and the only thing he resents about the Duke is the way he treated him and his mother. Joshua further says that he no longer resents the Duke as his mother is being taken care of very well and is treated better now. Joshua's knights show up, questioning him about the news of his leaving the Imperial Knights. Joshua tells them that he's leaving for a private matter. Bison intervenes, saying he'd want to help Joshua in the future, but is stopped. All the other knights, whom Joshua referred to as his precious people, say they will wait for him until the end to return. They show respect and leave Joshua trees. Joshua reminisces about how he has achieved all that he ever wanted except for one thing: destroying all foundations created and polished by Caesar Van Britten. He failed, but at least he found the third person helping Caesar. He must talk to the Moon Doors and gather information about them. Christian, the paladin of the Hubalt Empire, is leaving to go to the main battle, and Chrysler, one of the 9 stars, comes to bid farewell to him. He warns him of Uravis, who is the current king of Thran. Icarus and Cain are leaving the Pontier Palace and are told by Cheryl that the warp gate can't be used, which is why they need to go directly from the mountains. At the Accardi warp gate, Joshua learns that they can't use the gate that connects Reinhardt and Accardi. The man tells Joshua he'll warp him into a hybrid castle in the Trembling Duchy. Joshua finds out that the Magic Tower is also participating in the Master Battle. Joshua reaches the hybrid camp and is greeted by the Lord of the Hybrid County. The county asks Joshua to join him since the monarchy has ordered someone to look after Joshua. Joshua says he needs to first finish off a task and will return until dinner time. He says he's going to the Mercenary Guild. Draxia, Grace Bell, and Caesar Van Britten are conversing, admitting that they have already begun with their plan to destroy Joshua. Joshua is at the Mercenary Guild to get a silver plaque but is denied since he doesn't have 2-star requests or a bronze plaque. Joshua is agitated as the man knows who he is and still isn't issuing a plaque to him. The man agrees and says that he'll hand it over only if Joshua accepts his request. He gives Joshua a 5-star request, which Joshua finds difficult. He asks Joshua to depart now and read the scroll handed out to him for any details. Joshua leaves and tells the man he expects a reward in return, which he will tell the man when he returns. Lady Cheryl is informed the Duke of Pontier has collapsed, and they must end their campaign and fill the Duke's vacancy as soon as possible. They move out of the place, leaving their baggage. As they move to defend themselves, they are attacked by an unknown man, who ties Cain and Icarus up and tries to take Lady Cheryl away. Icarus manages to save Lady Cheryl. They are now surrounded by more men and feel helpless. Cain manages to jump from the top and carries out an explosion, which somehow intimidates the men, and they plan to first kill Cain. Joshua, meanwhile, is completing his 5-star request. He is considered a newbie and treated like one. He is supposed to fight the 5-string men as well as the undead monsters like Dullahan, which cannot be killed unless or B rank mana is used. As they get attacked, they see a 4th-class Magic Master fighting the monsters. The 4th-class Magic Master participating in a 2-star request is Iceland Jin Rebecca. The branch manager, Aiden, shows you how to fight the deadly monsters. As he does so, more of the monsters arrive, too strong for any of the knights to defeat. They run and retreat, but Joshua stands still in the face of all the monsters about to attack. And Joshua is adamant he will fight and defeat them, which he clearly proves as he strikes at each one of them with his magic spear. Everyone seems to have been taken aback by Joshua's strength and power. As they question him about his extraordinary skills, Joshua responds, "Don't question too much, you'll only be hurting yourself." At Aiden's tent, they discuss their plans and how they will now subjugate the Lick.
That's it for today. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.